r/Nosleep. Posted by Reddit user CreeperPyro. I got a security guard position at an amusement park with my friends. We shouldn't have applied. Part 2. Survive. A sense of dread filled me. Number 7. If you saw someone at the front gate, you may skip this rule, and it won't affect the rest of your shift. I skipped the rule, having seen Kay at the front gate. I still felt those piercing eyes fixed upon me. Number 8. You'll have to inspect every operation station and building in the amusement park. You will not have to inspect rides. You will have to inspect the food courts and restrooms. You will hear one of these 5 things as you walk into any given restroom. If you hear crying coming from the restroom, ignore it and inspect the restroom, including the stall the crying is coming from. If the crying stops, get out of there while making as little noise as possible. If you hear some screaming from the restrooms, do not enter the restrooms. If you hear nothing coming from the restroom, you may actually use the restroom if you need to at this point. If not, you can just keep going. If you hear laughter coming from the woman's restroom, just ignore it. You don't need to go inside the bathroom. If you do, the laughter will just stop. Nothing will happen. As long as you say, "I'm sorry for ruining the mood." You may use the restroom if you need to. If you hear laughter coming from the men's bathroom, ask as politely as possible, while standing outside of the restroom, "What's so funny?" They will answer no matter what the joke may be. Laugh, even if it's something dreadful. They will either stop laughing or continue laughing. If they stop laughing, get out of that area as soon as possible. If they continue laughing, just continue making your rounds for the park. That rule doesn't seem so hard, fortunately. Just have to be aware. Unless Kay appears. Number 9. This rule applies to you and only you, L. At 3:30 a.m., the screaming and knocking will be back. You're safe in the office, no matter how hard the banging is and no matter how loud the screaming is. You only hear it as it knows your presence. It will stop at exactly 3:35 a.m. You do not have to do anything else until 4:45 a.m. If you're still outside the security office, find some place to hide. It doesn't matter where, just hide and hope for the best. Cover your neck and attempt to cover your ears. After 3:35 a.m., you'll have until 4:30 to make it back to the security office. It'll be unlocked. Be sure to lock it behind you. If you do not make it back at 4:30 a.m., the park will take that as you losing the gamble of being outside. It will consume you. If you do make it back, you'll be able to do the next part as if it were a normal security guard camera job. You'll be able to ignore the rules after this one. The park knows your presence. It sees you survived the absolute worst it has to offer and will not attempt to combat you anymore. That is, only if you are outside the security offices between 3:30 a.m. and 3:35 a.m. Shit, I cursed out loud. I looked up from my rules list to see K and D reading their rules with a look of disgust on their faces. It looked like they were both taking this seriously, and good thing they are. I looked at the clock. It said 8:25 p.m. I guess I would have to finish these rules later. I have to make rounds around the outskirts of the park in 5 minutes. This sounds like absolute hell. I have to check the entire park. What the hell? D is usually not the type to get scared by this type of stuff. I think I have the worst of it. The rules literally state that I have the worst part of the job. I barely managed to squeak that out. I'll be watching you two on the security monitors, Kay said. Doesn't sound so bad for me. 8:30 p.m. Good luck, guys. I left the office, making sure to lock it behind me. I took a deep breath. I definitely need that luck right about now. I make my way to the edge of the park, right by the security office, and begin walking, mumbling incoherently to myself. Stepping in the grass gives me some solitude, yet I don't know why. Wait a minute. I'm not mumbling. I look up. It hasn't even been a minute since I left the security office. There in plain sight, outside the gate, is me? Before the realization takes place, I'm already booking it back to the security office. I hear my own screams behind me. They aren't mine, but they sound so much like me. As I'm running, it occurs to me, I haven't moved. I turn around to face me. Quote unquote, I am still in the same place. I'm confused. Isn't it supposed to be chasing after me? It seems to take notice when I think that. If I weren't paying attention, I almost would have missed it, but it dissipated behind a tree outside the park, only to reappear climbing the gate. I didn't notice at first as I was lifting my arm up to glance at my phone screen to check the time. 8:39 p.m. In an instant, everything clicks. I should have been running. Time is different here, isn't it? I make a mad dash to the security office, actually moving this time, unlocking the door and slamming it behind me, and locking it, just as the time strikes 8:40. I'm gasping for a breath. Holy shit! I was watching on the security camera. You left out the main gate, only to just stand there. I could see what looked to be you running and walking in place. The camera cut off all of a sudden and you were gone, and you reappeared right in front of the security office, running. I never left the park. I just barely got to the grass, only to see myself outside the gate, I responded to Kay. That wasn't what I saw, but I believe you. I looked up at Kay. He had a look of concern and worry on his face. Understandably so. I don't know how close I was to dying, but I assume by the skin of my teeth. Dying. Or worse. This place is a death trap. A nightmare. One we may never wake from. You know you've just been sitting there for over an hour and a half, right? I glance up at the clock. 10:10 p.m. What? How? 20 minutes until I get what should be a literal walk in the park. I hope it is, but how did time... Before I can even finish that thought, Dee burst through the security door, making a loud bang, scaring the absolute shit out of me and Kay. He's okay, but he looks like he's seen something. Probably like I saw myself in Kay. Holy shit, Dee, I yelled as he locks the door behind him. What? Can a guy run into the same room as his friends while panicking for no reason? He was always like that. Never wanted to admit anything was wrong. I just got scared for no reason, alright? I thought I heard footsteps and well, I probably did hear footsteps. Maybe. What's that gash on your arm? Kay took notice when Dee hit his arm away. Nothing. I probably just hit something when I was running. You know me. Clumsy. We know you better than that. You saw something, didn't you? I threw that accusation towards him. Fine. This place is haunted. I really did hit my arm while running, but I was running from a creature. It had like 3 different bodies and 1 head. It was something out of a nightmare. It caught me off guard, I wasn't paying attention. It was in the distance one moment, and in the next, I had already finished checking the park, so I was coming back when it appeared, but fuck, man. 10:29 p.m. I almost hadn't noticed time while Dee was explaining. Oh, shit. I gotta go. I unlocked the door and slammed it shut before they could even get a word of protest in. I started to run towards the outskirts until I remembered to lock the door, running back, locking it, and booking it to the outskirts. I made it. Nothing had happened. I hoped that meant I could take my break. I made the way around the park until I came across something odd. The gate was open. I didn't notice it when I made my way to the outskirts, nor when I walked the opposite way. I don't know why I chose to walk the other way. Maybe because subconsciously I didn't want to have to go by the gate after the two incidences. I wanted to investigate, I really did, till a wave of sudden fatigue swept over me. I couldn't fight it. I ended up falling asleep. I guess I didn't know how tired I was. I woke up with a start. The atmosphere felt colder. Something was off. I looked around. I was being watched, wasn't I? I was full alert, having slept what was probably a normal 12 hours that I slept. Yes, I slept 12 hours, so what? I had no time to look around before I hear a demonic roar. A fucking demonic roar behind me. I sprinted for my life. I didn't want to think about it, I just kept running and running. I sure as hell was awake now. I found the security office, unlocked it, and slammed the door, locking it immediately. Where the hell have you been? Dee's voice caused me to whirl around. I don't know why it scared me, but it did. It doesn't matter. The clock. That's all that matters at the moment. 11:30 p.m. This damn piece of paper wasn't lying. What the hell do you mean, it doesn't matter? Of course it matters, look at your arm. For the first time I looked down at my arm, and there was a bite. The mark of an animal, or a human could make, except it looked nothing like a real creature's bite. It was jagged and in disarray. How did I not notice or feel this? I finished part of my shift before I have to take your spot, D. I'll be fine once I get to case portion, though. I'm amazed how calm I sounded. Actually, you won't be fine. Read Rule 4. What? Read the rule. This isn't D. I couldn't muster up the strength to even look up, though. I shakily grabbed the paper with all the rules written on it. Sure enough, it read, Rule 4. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep during your 10:30 shift, no matter how tired you suddenly feel. I reread it over and over, but it still didn't change. That's when I realized Rule 1. Do not under any circumstances break these rules. Be sure to check your rule sheet after every time you encounter a creature. This is your Bible tonight. Your safe haven. If you don't break any of the rules, you'll have a giant bonus in your bank account. Be sure to check your rule sheet after every time you encounter a creature. I look up at D. It's not him, though. It's me.